Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Football 360 show, coming at you on multiple platforms, including X, YouTube. You can find us on KLIS 590, your Lou Info station, AM in St. Louis, for sure. LouInfo.com on the internet. If you're out of the St. Louis area, like a bunch of you are, and you want to listen to that, check it out. It's a bunch of cool sports stuff on there, as well as our show. And of course, you can catch us on Spotify, Instagram, if you just want the podcast version, and all things Football 360 Show on football360show.com as well. I am JP Rock. He is Matt Bierman. How you doing today, Matt?
Doing great, JP.
There's our Instagram and X accounts on the screen. JP Rock MO on X for me. JP Rock Scouts U, the letter U on Instagram. And Matt, where can people reach you at?
Elite Football on X and Elite Football Academy on Instagram.
And we absolutely love questions. So if you got a question, go ahead and reach out and ask us. And it's a hot, beautiful day here. Not in the studio, thank goodness. We're in a space age. Elon Musk, might as well have built it. And There's a reason for that. I say that because we are kind of in the aerospace industry district, I guess you should say.
A lot of high flyers coming out of here.
Absolutely. And I'll tell you how we know how good this studio is because a lot of jets are just going off around us.
Yes.
And we're not hearing it. So that's cool.
There's jets fired up in the back of the building here. And you can't hear them.
So, football season is really in swing. Unless you're a fan. If you're a fan, you're like, I can't wait for football season. But it's really going in full swing. I mean, the high school levels, you've got joint practices, scrimmage, all kinds of stuff just going on like crazy. I know Mizzou's media day, the SEC media day is happening this week.
A lot of colleges will start on the 27th, 28th of July.
Right. And so just a little bit over a month away from actual football season kicking off as far as games being played. Is that crazy?
Yep. That's what, but here's the thing. Teams have been really getting at it since January, right?
Correct.
I mean, they've been, when they get home for their bowl games, they're rolling. Same thing's going on with the better high school kids. They've been going. I mean, I know there's a little bit of spring ball they get to do, and then they, as soon as summer hits, they're doing that.
Which isn't real football. Let's establish that.
It's a little different.
But it is football related.
Yeah, I mean, look, I love 7-on-7, particularly when it's run at football practice, right? Yep. Because you're implementing it. The defense is kind of getting into what they're supposed to be in, and then you're truly working on reading.
But it's a football activity. And it's working football skills. 100%. Right. But it's not football. And and so we got that. Then you got the combines, the elite combines, the KC varsity combines. Leonard Woods already passed us. I mean, there's still college camps going on this late. I know on Friday, SEMO, it has theirs going, and that's a big one.
Yep.
A lot of smaller colleges, Ottawa, the Ottawa Braves had theirs, and a bunch of smaller ones. And you see these guys, Westminster, Missouri.
Yep.
And Fulton had theirs and a lot of stuff. And
but it's smart for those guys to do their camps a little later in the summer because you're not competing with the bigger schools.
Oh, yeah.
The FCS guys are not fully done because there's that last little window where you'll see a few FCS or FBS schools throw them in like that last week of July. Where it does get a little tough is like if you're a quarterback's probably not that big of a deal. But then you're getting really close to like going down and doing a little extra competition pretty close to the season, which, you're like a week away from practice.
Yeah, that always kind of, because like I said, there are people doing joint practices and scrimmages right now.
Yeah.
Right. So you figure if you have a joint practice on Thursday and then you're going to a football camp on Friday,
Yeah.
That's a lot of work. And you've been working all week long.
All week. And so to some of the kids out there, you do have to be somewhat cognizant of where your body's at. Like early in the summer, we discussed it, like having a plan and like not burning yourself out. Like, cause the problem is that it's one thing to go to the camps. It's another thing to show up and do exactly what you're supposed to do.
Correct.
Right. And I think, for a younger kid, not a big deal because you have house money, you're playing with house money. You can over time, you're gaining experience. I would much rather gain that experience and have a mediocre to decent performance than
show up your
show
header
up
your
your
senior
your
year.
oh yeah, like that's not gonna work. It's
No.
just not gonna work.
Unless you're somebody who's working your butt off, you're doing it, you're hitting all of the camps.
Yep.
A kid by the name of Con Horman is one that comes to mind. Just picked up his first D1 offer from Central Arkansas, and congratulations to him. He's a guy who has put in the work, and he's done it since
He's going to be a guy that gets to college and he's untapped.
Correct.
And they are going to. He's going to be a guy who's 6'7",
He's
6'8".
He's 6'8", 300.
I mean, he is,
yeah, and put together.
And good people.
Yep.
He's worked at this. He has been training since early middle school.
Yeah.
He has just grown and grown. I mean,
yeah,
his father, he and his father, like just such good people. They're always communicating, always letting us know, like, hey, he's got work tonight or whatever. Like, they are serious about training.
And
they're serious about development.
Yep.
And guess what? I think we mentioned it one time. He was in training, and he's a big dude.
Yeah.
And his shirt got ripped off right in the one-on-one drill. And most big guys, get their shirts ripped off or whatever, and they're like, can I get another shirt to put on?
Yeah, they don't want to be skinned.
He's in damn good shape. Like, he doesn't have any fat on him.
Yeah,
he is put together, and he did not worry about, hey, can I get another shirt to put on? It's like last week we had our little kids camp, and we do the dreaded shirts for skins.
Yeah, nobody wants to be skins.
And you see some of these bigger boys are like, and it's funny. It doesn't even matter if it's a bigger kid.
Yeah,
there's little skinny guys are like,
nah,
I'm not gonna. I don't want to take my shirt. I was like, you go to the pool, right? Like, come on, like we're at an all boys school on a campus. That's with all boys. Like,
they have that modesty still at that age a little bit.
But yeah, so he had a shirt ripped off. And it's like, damn, he is put together like a.
Oh yeah,
freaking
he's
brick house.
His upper body is very hulkish. The shoulders, very. I mean, just the whole deal. And
that's a steal for. I bet you Central Arkansas saw him and was like, oh damn, where'd you come from?
They knew about him, and he's had a plan, and he's followed the plan, and it's paying off. Central Arkansas, he was just down there and worked out. And
pulled the trigger,
and they're like,
there you go.
What? Yeah, exactly. I'm sure they were like, "Holy cow, this is your everything."
Well, when you see him on the hoof, you get there and you're like, "Oh wow, like he's big." Yeah. And you know what? You see offensive linemen. The big ones are the real big ones are hard to find. Those tackles are hard to find. They're really hard to find. Yep. So, but he played D-line, played a bunch of linebacker growing up.
I'm telling you what, when I first met him, he was 8th grade. He was 6'3", like 180, 190. Yeah. And I'm like, wow, this kid, I really want to watch him for linebacker. Next thing I know is, I'm 6'5".
And
now,
and then widens out.
Widens out, right.
Yeah.
I'm like,
again, that is why you do not count kids in or out based on where they are size-wise. Like my observation from this summer, and I'm pretty in tune because of like my son being a freshman, it is so interesting. Like if you watch those class of 2029 kids and you stand them next to the 28s, there's a marked difference in size. And then you stand them next to the junior seniors, 27s and 26s, you forget that finishing size of that 4 to 6 inches, 8 inches, whatever it could be for some kids, between 14 and 17, you forget 3 years is a short period of time, but it's a long period of time to really let that maturation process take hold. And you see that, and it's really interesting to see those kids that, like you'll see a kid who's like a freshman who's 5'8.5", 5'9", and you see his big brother who's a junior who's 6'2".
Yeah.
And you're like, damn, he's got a lot of growth still to go, right? And you just forget what that freshman size, because you're assuming, they're in high school. They're babies.
Right. Well,
they're babies.
And the Coopers are like that. You have Cameron who's 6'5", legit 6'5". Yeah. And then Chase, who's growing. And each time I see Chase, he's looking a little taller. And I even said to him last time I saw him, I'm like, how are you going to get to be big brother size? You're going to get 6'5". So he's probably about 6'2" right now.
Yeah, 6'2.5",
entering his sophomore season. And your son's another kid who every time I see him, he's
just
taller,
a little taller.
It's weird. A little more maturation to his face. It is weird.
We had a kid, Max Bradley from Oakville, coming today. He's a quarterback. I had not seen him since he's been throughout the summer. They've been really busy, so I had not seen him. I was gone a couple of Sundays. He came in, and then I walked up to him. I said, Max,
Yeah.
you have grown at least an inch or two. And
Oh,
he's
yeah.
like, oh, you think? I'm like, I don't think. I am
Yes.
100% positive because the last time I saw you, you were not this size. You've grown. And it's so bizarre to see that happen
Right. It is.
over that period of time. And what it is probably I was around him a bunch in the winter and spring. So he was growing a little bit during that, but you don't notice it. And then
Right.
then you get some perspective on it. You don't see him for a minute, and then it's like, damn.
See, I noticed it this spring at a combine, right? Because the last time I saw him was like beginning of last season to this spring, and it was like I didn't recognize him,
Mm-hmm.
right? Because I'm like, who's this? I'm like, who's this dude? And I immediately walk up. I'm like, who's this dude? I'm like, hey, what's your? I'm like, and he's like, Max.
Yeah,
I'm
it's
like,
me.
oh yeah,
So-
Max. And I said, I'm like, what happened?
I think he's setting up. Oakville looked really good
Yep.
at the Kirkwood 7v7. They looked really good. They
did.
were throwing the ball
Yeah.
around.
They looked good. They've looked good everywhere that I've seen them.
Yeah, Coach Genge does a really good job there. I know that they got a good number of kids that come up through their junior program. So I think that's always a good sign, right? And
Yeah.
I think that there's community support and they got some good things going. So it should be fun to watch Max this year as a senior.
Yeah.
He's setting up to have a good senior year. And they had one of their backups, they moved and they're now in I would assume they're in the same conference, but to Lindbergh, Colby Bangert, who's going to be a junior.
Oh, okay.
And he's going to be playing against them. And I think it should be fun. I think it's one of those things where it's like a week 1 or week 2 matchup. So you're going to see a guy that was there. But to me, they moved and now he's, whatever, he's at a new school, can't go to the school where you moved from. Right. So you get to play each other. I think that's kind of fun, right? You get to see your old teammates and all that. I think that's an
interesting dynamic because you have some of the people who are not mad, but just like you're my competition now, and then you have the friends who are on the team who are rooting for you.
So that is too. That's one of the things that I just absolutely love about what we do at Elite is we have all these kids from all over the region, and they're training together, and they all have like group chats and like when we were kids. Yeah, if there was a kid from a rival high school, like he was your mortal enemy, like you hated
fought him at the McDonald's,
right? I mean, like you
ran
just
into
literally
you ran into McDonald's, you fought.
It was like they were, Russians and we're Americans. We hate each other, right?
Yeah.
And the reality is, you meet like the Russian guy, you're like, oh, this guy's pretty cool. He's just like me. I'm just like him. Whereas the same kid from the school across the street,
right?
Like literally my high school, like I went to Parkway West, Parkway Central, 8 houses away was what separated me from being at Parkway Central.
Wow.
Right. I mean, 8, what it was. So
look, you know who that happened to is TJ Moe was similar to that. He was right there by Fort Zumwalt South. And I remember him telling me, he's like, man, I was really close to going to Zumwalt South.
I think West probably reaped the benefit of having him.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And he turned their program and put him, in Coach Day when he was there. They really got them.
And just think of what Parkway Central could have done with you.
Oh, man. Well, a lot of the kids on my junior football team ended up playing. And then oddly enough, my junior year, we played them. They were really good. We were really good. And we were beating them 13-0 at half.
Yeah.
And they had Isaac Bird, who ended up playing the NFL. They had a guy named Kurt Goody, Chris Goody.
So
Kerry Millar.
Isaac was a quarterback back then,
Isaac was, yeah. He had played receiver up until that year.
Okay.
And so
he still would have probably played receiver.
Yeah, he was, and then he ended up going to college and the pros and played receiver.
Right.
But he was like a kind of like a Cordell Stewart at the time, like running around doing all that. But we ended up losing 14-13. And he was probably the difference maker.
Oh, without a doubt.
We had a 4th and 35 that we did not sit in prevent defense very well, and they completed a 4th and on the game-winning drive.
Yeah.
I mean, one of those things you remember the rest of your life. Like, what in the world were we doing? Not in prevent defense. Like literally, how do you like let a guy run by you? But it is what it is.
Right. You were also like 8 houses, Dad.
Yeah, right. I mean,
didn't they win a championship?
Well, that team lost to Blue Springs in the state championship. Okay. So it was a really good team. I mean, we were right there neck and neck with them. I mean, it was us or them was going to state. I mean, it was that good of teams. Like the senior class ahead of me was really good, like stacked. And
Yeah.
so they were stacked. It was one of those good thing. And if you think about like just that any combination of those kids from one side to the other, like in a district like Parkway,
Yeah.
The tough thing about Parkway now is that it does not have the volume. Like there's new houses starting to go in some places, but it's price sensitive, right? Because you're building houses in areas that don't have a lot of land, so the land's expensive. So,
Right.
But it is interesting to see how all of that has worked out, because you look at like Parkway North, and don't get me on my numbers, but their school is under 1,000 kids. It's like 750 kids.
That's wild.
And now, this is, at one point, some of these schools were, 1,800 to 2,000 kids,
Yeah.
right? And so you look at it like that perspective, it's like that outlier effect where you have, if you ever read the book Outliers, like this guy talks about a school, like you want to be the group. So they say they built the school to house 2,200 kids.
Mhm.
Well, you're at the school when it houses 1,200. That's it. That is a net gain for you,
Yeah.
because you now have the facilities and the space designed for double.
Mhm.
And you get the advantage of being in that size bubble when the population dissipates.
Right.
And so he gives like countless examples of like how that happened in New York City and what it ended up spawning, like those groups of people that got that advantage, right? Which you would think it would be a disadvantage. You're like, oh, it's less kids, but it's like, no, same facilities, same backing, less people,
Yeah.
right? And so Parkway is
population
definitely
ages,
going
yeah.
through that, because there was a point in time South was gigantic. I don't know that. I mean, them in West, I think, are probably in the 1,000,
Yeah.
1,100 kids, 1,200
That's
kids.
wild,
I mean,
yeah.
it's
It used to be like
significantly less.
2,000.
Whereas you got the Wentzville schools, they can't. They built a new one because they needed more. So it's the same kind of thing going on there with 4 high schools right there in Wentzville, where you get this huge population growth. So, but they just, but I will say back in the day, the Parkways definitely benefited from that growth, and they had teams across the board in every sport that were competing at state level championships, which they just have not had. It's harder to do,
right?
And now private schools are bigger, right? Back then, private schools were not nearly as.
It's the way to go, and something's gonna give somewhere along the line, because
100%.
And we talk about it. And we talk about how everything trickles down, everything goes downhill, and we've talked about college football and how that's becoming pro football, and that's trickling down. And I actually saw, a conversation. Brennan Spain, you probably saw it too.
Yeah.
Head coach of Cardinal Ritter was talking about that, how he sees the stuff in the college game coming down, including NLI, right? I mean, you see kids in high school, especially, and the discussion was about the South, and that, of course, that's where it's going to start, right? Because football in the South is different, whether anybody wants to admit it or not. It's completely different. You've been down there. The stadiums are like college stadiums, right? And they have indoor facilities, and they have the whole 9 yards, because football's that big down there. And so they were talking, and he was talking about how that's coming here. And I don't think a lot of people, but apparently down there they already have the image likeness.
Well, and so Missouri, because of its law, with like if someone commits to a Missouri school and then signs with a Missouri school, they can get paid while they're still in high school.
Mm-hmm.
It only stands to reason at some point. I mean, like, to me, if the law of NIL, like if you're like a name, image, likeness law, why would it be drawn? Why, like, who was to say there's a set age where your name, image, and likeness kicks in when you're 18?
Correct, because you can start working when you're 15,
correct,
14 with a permit. So why would that be any different? So, you're going to have that. You're going to have the name, image, likeness. You're going to have people wanting to have open borders as far as schools go. And there's a lot of reasoning behind why that's going to be a thing on many levels, whether it's from just the government, whether it's from, you're stopping me from making money because gives me a better opportunity to be gainfully employed with that. Plus you have the private schools and people say, oh, well, the private schools recruit, unfair competition. I mean, there's just a lot of things. And so
I think you got Misha's going to step in at some point and say, well, we're going to do this, this, and this. But I do think
their hand might be forced.
They're but when you get this, if they, and again, I'm not up on the law with it, but when they were discussing the school choice, the way I understand it is like whatever school, the way they had written it wasn't going to be a free for all, but like whatever school district you border. Yep. So, you use like a Francis Howell, they would have Rockwood bumps into them. Parkway bumps into them.
Yeah.
Pattonville bumps into them.
Yeah.
Zumwaltz.
Yeah.
Wentzville.
Yeah. It's a big, yeah.
So those kids, they can gather kids from there, or they can, again, I think that they can opt in or out and all that stuff. So you have all these schools that border and touch, and you say, okay, well, hey, I want to go to that because it's going to give me a better opportunity. And then say we're not going to let you do it because of this, this, and this. I think that it just opens up the door it's a pretty litigious society. So people are going to want to get into the courts and say, hey, this isn't right. Yeah. Right. And so you're preventing me from this. And the truth of the matter is some programs do offer better opportunities to get kids into college, mm-hmm. and to, those kids do make money when they go. They're not all, but the vast majority will make a lot of money in college if they go to the right school, and everything works out for them. But I do think that there's so much to what we're looking at and why we're having this conversation, because it's coming, right? It's not if or when. It's like if you watch this stuff that's going on with all their artificial intelligence, like, they're talking about these things that were supposed to happen in 2030.
It's already happening. Yeah.
Right. And they're talking about it's happening at a record pace. Well, things that they assumed were going to be this. Well, like the same thing with this, like what Coach Spain was talking about. It happened in college. It's going to happen.
It's happening down south. It's happening for high school kids down south. So if it's happening there, it's gonna be up here at some point. The question is, the reason it's happening down there now is because high school football is so big.
Yeah.
We're hoping it gets that big up here. We're hoping that a lot of people wake up and realize how important and it's not just a game. There's so much more involved to it. And I think that was the original conversation that Coach Spain was talking about, how being a head football coach for a high school is a full-time job.
Oh yeah.
And even for the assistants, you know this. I mean, it's time consuming.
So JP,
a lot of work.
This is a segue that I think will be interesting.
Well, if it's going to be a long segue, you might want to hold it off for like a minute or so.
Yeah, how about that? Because I'll get it pulled up.
Let's go ahead. Yeah, let's go ahead and just hang back on that one. But no, very interesting. And as you can attest, there's a lot of work going in now more than ever. People need to, have a plan, pay attention, pay their coaches, do everything the right way. You can't just wait, up until you're going to enter your senior year.
Oh,
now I'm going to start working. And I see, a lot of kids posting that on their social media, year 4, entering year 3, entering year 4. This time it's going to be a movie or whatever it is.
Your sophomore and junior year that's your audition.
Correct. And you got to have a plan. You got to have things going. So we're gonna get more into that in just a minute. But yeah, check us out on YouTube, on Instagram, on X, and on KLIS 590 AM, your Lou Info station, louinfo.com. So we were talking about just everything. The football season is about to be started just a little over a month, and you have a plan, and how the NILs coming up here. Kids are going to be being able to transfer schools eventually. It's all linked together.
Well, that's the thing, is if you have a school transfer rule, that's the state law that says, hey, you can go to these schools under these parameters.
Right.
How in the world do you then prevent somebody from playing a sport, whereas somebody's like, oh no, well, yeah, if you transfer, you can transfer, but you can't play.
Right.
I mean, I understand the story now, because the rule is those transfers have to be a full person, move or whatever. There's, some other reasons why you can do it, but the vast majority, by and large, are due to moving your family.
Mm-hmm.
And then you get into full family move versus families that are split. all that stuff, which
Yeah.
I don't pretend to understand all that because I've seen it go for people and against them. I've seen it
Correct.
all, right? You
Yeah.
have too.
Yeah.
But I think there's going to have to be adjustments to that. And, to me, it goes back to that's fine. If you're going to preclude kids from playing sports and you manage activities, you need to preclude them from doing band and choir and
Yeah.
arts because football is an extracurricular activity. Soccer and baseball and all those we fixate on football, but it happens in other sports as well.
Right.
But the reality of it is that has to, turnabout's fair play. It's for everybody, right? Equal protection. Like, why would you treat sports any different than the activities? And, oh, by the way, that person's job is the athletics and activities director, not the athletics director anymore. They lump them together.
Right.
So, but and Misha's the same thing. It's athletics and activities. So I do think it is interesting that there's a separate set of rules for football or not football, but sports.
Right.
And it'll be curious to see how that all plays out. And I think we're going to be kind of watching it probably as close as anybody. But one of the things we were talking about, like with like people taking it serious in the South, something that and this is going to be kind of a good segue into something I wanted to talk about. But how many colleges do you think have football in the state of Alabama?
In Alabama,
Mm-hmm.
is at least what, double digits?
15.
Yep.
Okay. Florida.
Oh, well, college,
20. 19.
Yeah.
State of Missouri, what do you think?
5 or 7.
22.
What?
22 colleges offer football. There's
What?
more football in the state of Missouri.
Really?
Illinois
Yeah.
is let's see here. Illinois is
22. My head. My head's spinning.
35 college
Wow.
programs in the state of Illinois.
Really?
Kansas, of all
But we
places.
we
my
include
gosh.
JUCOs in that. 'Cause
That-
there's
this
probably
is all.
about-
Yeah,
okay,
it's
so
all.
what? 40?
Yeah, with the
40.
26.
Okay.
But most of them are JUCOs.
Right.
Two Division Ones, and the rest are JUCOs.
Right.
But yeah, it is interesting to see those southern schools. You would assume Florida, and then Texas is the one that I think is interesting. California is wild. Texas is 50,
Mhm.
and then California is let's see here,
That's why it's
83.
So it's
83 programs. But you kind of want to know as you're looking at schools, I think for our population,
yeah. That's a large.
that's a lot of numbers.
It
That's good
really-
numbers. And then the bordering states having Kansas, Illinois,
Right.
Iowa, I don't think has a ton. Arkansas has some, but not as many. But I think that's a pretty good thing. I mean, we take football fairly serious, at least at the collegiate level. I mean, they're not all gigantic schools.
Without question. No, they're not. Some of them got to be pretty. Some of them might have just popped up because that blows my mind that there's that.
But we do have unreal Division II football, and then the bordering states, a lot of really good FCS football.
Absolutely. And,
So-
and I think that's why there's like a lot of so much talent, so much more talent than I think people realize.
Well, something that's the other thing too, is like, if you look in Florida, which I think this is very interesting because this got me thinking when I was going through this. So like Florida, if you want to look at D2s, okay, in the state of Florida, 2.
D2s.
2. There's
Yeah.
only 2. FBS, 7.
Yeah.
FCS, 3.
So that explains why you have people are always like, oh, there's so much talent down in
Because
Florida.
there's nowhere to go.
There's no place to go but up here.
Correct.
Right. So that's why and unfortunately, that's why you will see some of the local schools go down there and they're picking this guy out of Alabama or Florida or Georgia, Mississippi. And they're like, well, wait a minute, what about this kid here? Well, they have that abundance down there that they can go down there and pick that guy, And I'm of the opinion, once you get past the top tier kids, the
Yeah.
elite, the cream of the crop down south, it's all the same.
It's all the same.
You might as well take the local guy.
So they have no D3 programs in the state of Florida and 7 NAIA for a state that large. So again, to your point, that's why there's nowhere for him to go. That's why they come up, and then you get them.
Yeah.
Sometimes you're like, this guy's not even that good, right? Like,
Right.
but he played in Florida,
Right.
and
Football's better down
football, of course, is better down there.
Sure.
Well, yeah, they have a better spring ball. They have better, but I would say that the coaching
there.
is
It's more highly thought of down there.
correct.
They have a better system, maybe.
Volume
Talent.
of kids, right? And then, but the talent is probably spreading out across the country. And so then it gives it like, oh, these guys are really good. Whereas a lot of the kids in Missouri stay close to Missouri. They're in Illinois. They're in somewhere in the Midwest.
Yeah.
Because they have a lot of options to go play.
And you've brought it up before on the show about the number of kids from Missouri who play in the NFL.
Oh, it's yeah.
Right. And I mean, it's up there.
It's in the top 10.
Correct.
Per capita.
For not being, such a heavily populated as a Texas, as a Florida, Georgia.
Right. And we talked about last week, but you had people online were, talking about, our area doesn't develop this quarterback, so they don't develop these guys. It's like, well, one, if you're in a position to develop people, develop them.
Right.
Right. If you're able to be talking about it as an expert, develop them.
Bingo.
Because I don't worry about other people's kids. I worry about the kids that we train and develop. And I would put them against any group of kids in the country. We went down to the Manning camp. We had 12 of our quarterbacks there. I promise you, the vast majority of them were the best kids in their group.
Yeah.
The vast majority.
Right.
How do I know that? Talking to their parents, talking to, watching them, hearing their experience, witnessing it, because they're built to last. And there's, I understand, like, it may not be fun we don't go out to the field and just throw balls. That's what you do at practice. We don't do that for training.
Yeah.
We go out and we train to hit what we aim at.
Very specific.
We train to move in the pocket, right? We train to come up throwing and throwing around things, over things, anticipating, reading, developing. By the way, our read training class that we did on Thursday,
how'd that go?
I think about 18 guys there. I think it was 15, 18 guys. Really good. We're going to do it again Thursday at 7:30 p.m. And it was really good. I think we had most were quarterbacks, but some receivers, and I think all of them at least got something really good out of it. So
if you're a kid, you're going to show up to that. You're dedicated to getting better.
Oh yeah,
right. Yeah, added extra school.
I mean, to me, that's the stuff you're just fiending for because it's the stuff that you don't get a lot of.
No,
and I won't give away all the secrets because some of the things that we talked about, some of the kids that they gave, the stuff they talked about with their teams or what they're doing and this and that, simple adjustments and teaching them how to read and how to just even think like a play caller and how to understand what they're watching on film, how the sequence to watch the film becomes really good. And we have, we're really blessed. We have access to a database that has the all 22 film from all the games from 23 and 24. So like the game we watched was Ole Miss versus Alabama. I think it was at Alabama. Jackson Dart it was 2 years ago. It was Jackson Dart. So, but it was fun going through and watching them, watching the various coverages, picking up nuances to what they're doing, watching how they set plays up.
Kids pretty attentive. The whole
very
thing.
attentive. Yeah. Very attentive. And, if you're coming on a Thursday night to do that, I think we went like a half an hour over, of course, because we're just talking. And I think the parents that were waiting for the younger kids, and I'm sure they probably were like, we got to go here. But the older guys driving, they don't really care.
Right.
So, but, the whole process of getting better to me is to open up your mind, learn new things, ask questions, be around other guys that are doing it currently, being around guys that have done it, and that have helped other people do it.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that therein lies, that's how you can make changes in people. And I think that is the mission. That's what we want to do. That's why we do it. And then, one of the things what I was using before, and I think you and I have talked about this, we've developed an app for kids to help get recruited, right? Just from like a build a profile, that's great. But how to get in contact with people, because you and I do our thing behind the scenes, right? We can talk to people, we can guide them, but at the end of the day, you do have to do the work.
I tell everybody, you got to be proactive. Both as a parent and a player, you have to be proactive. You can't just sit there and wait.
Yeah.
Right? Because you'll be waiting a long time.
So we have Joe, you can pull it up if you want, but it won't show a whole lot. But we have the site's called Get Offered. It's GET and then Offered, OFFRD. So, but essentially, a site that's got access to 10,000 plus coaches' names. And to me, you and I know that's probably one of the most valuable things you can find in the process is what the guy's email address is, what his Twitter handle is. And phones are important, but really not that important because most of the phone numbers you're going to get is going to be leaving a message with the secretary or just a mailbox that's full.
Right.
Right. But the reality of it is the Twitter, following these guys, and then recruiting questionnaires are the name of the game. Right. If you do the recruiting questionnaires, you get your name in their system. It doesn't mean they're going to come out right away and offer you, but it means somebody somewhere is going to look at your information, right?
Hopefully.
Right?
Yeah.
Like a GA or an analyst or someone along that line.
Along with the other 20,000.
Right. But I will say that there's a lot of kids that are probably pretty lazy in the process that do not want to fill these things out.
Or don't know to do it. A question. Right.
Right. And so you can go into the system, you can click on a school, and it will tell you like, hey, here's a little information on their school. Here's their questionnaire link.
Yeah.
I think probably 95% of every school has a questionnaire. Some are out of date, some are not working great. And then it's got contacts, and then being able to go in, look at a contact, and then put a note about, hey, I emailed this guy on this day. I'm going to and put a reminder. I'm going to follow back up at this time. You have to do that. You don't rely on your parents to do it. You don't rely on JP to do it for you or me to do it for you. You got to do it. Okay. Your high school coach is going to help when the coaches come in and he can send messages on your behalf, but that's about it, man.
Yeah.
That's at some point you have to do the work and you got to do the research on schools. And the thing that I showed you that I think is probably one of the most interesting features on the site, and it's going to hurt some people's feelings, but it's good to know, is we have an evaluation component where you can put your height, your weight, your 40 time, your broad jump, your vert, and all that. And then you can click what your position is, and then it will tell you what percentage of the measurables you meet for that position. Now, if you're 14, you're 13, you're 15, you're obviously not going to meet the weight requirements, right? Of a Division I quarterback or offensive lineman, right? You're most likely not. Your height probably isn't going to be there either, right? But your speed is probably not going to be there either.
Right. If you're a senior and you're 5'6", 280-pound lineman,
so then,
let you know
then it tells you, JP, what realistically, like, hey, I fit more at the NAIA level.
Yep.
Doesn't mean you cannot work to another level, but the point being is, you kind of want to get in where you fit in, right? And know what that fit is, and then have some reach schools that you're still looking at.
Right, but it will save you and your parents time and money from you lining up 10 camp visits, right, throughout the Big Ten and the SEC, and then give you a more reasonable goal to set where you should probably camp.
JP, I was at Northwestern, and I was watching the camp, and just sitting on the wall, waiting for it to get started.
Being a parent,
and there's 100 kids there. It was probably 110 kids, if that. It was not a real big camp. This is like an individual camp. This is not a mega camp. This is not their Chicagoland showcase. It's just a regular camp. One day. And I was looking at some of these boys. So my son's a freshman, right? So he's there on an exploratory mission, right? Like he's there to kind of audit the course, not for a grade because you're a freshman. You're just there to kind of go through and feel it out and see how well you do, right? So next year when you come back and you do it, you know the script. They're going to do the same camp, and you show up and you kick butt and then go from there. But I would argue there was 50% of the kids that were there were juniors or seniors that had no business.
Oh, yeah.
No business of trying to be on a Big Ten campus.
Yeah. That always fascinates me.
So to me, why not go to, like, if you don't meet the size parameters, okay, if you meet the speed and all the other parameters, that's fine. Maybe the size is not as big of a deal, and they kind of, you find you catch a runner and you're their guy. But having an idea and like start to look at this, and we have some AI components that will help take what your size is and what your grades are and all that, and then tell you like, hey, here's some good matches for you, right?
Yeah.
Of course, you can override the system and say, no, I want a big school in the South that's FBS. It'll also tell you what those are. But the reality of it is like, if you objectively say, okay, where am I at? Where am I heading? This is where they recruit people that look like me and move like me.
Right.
Your odds for success are going to go through the roof, right?
Yep.
Because if you try and, what do they say? Fit a, square peg in a round hole. It does not work all that often. I'm not saying it can't, but I'm telling you, as you and I have talked about, the beauty of this is if something happens and you mature while you physically mature, or you just become a dominant player at that college level you fit at, okay, your opportunity to go somewhere else is going to be through the roof.
Yeah.
And oh, by the way, on the flip side, JP, I would be willing to bet you the production you get into college will help overrun some of those. Is he tall enough? No, because you've produced at the college level and they don't care. But coming in, why would they waste something on somebody they know is not going to work for them today?
Right. Which goes back to why it's so difficult to get recruited at a high level as a quarterback, because they're like, you're not going to work for us today. So you go here, get an entry level someplace else. But you're absolutely right. You have 6 years, right?
Right.
To climb that ladder on the college level. So, look at it as a positive. It's going to help you. And just like you said, you can go ahead and keep jumping levels. It's not the end, right? And it's something that's told you. It doesn't mean that it's set in stone, but it's a big help. It's a tool. Use it as a tool, like anything else. It's going to help you.
Our friend Andy Hafner was on the show a couple weeks ago. He has said this numerous times. It's like college football is like getting invited into the corporation. Right. And so there may be a branch in Toledo. It's a branch in, San Luis Obispo, California. There's one in Chicago, multiple in Chicago.
Yeah.
There's 35 branches in Chicago, actually, or in Illinois.
Yeah.
There's 29 or whatever in Missouri. Right. And you're in the corporate structure.
Yep.
Right.
Yeah. You're in the mailroom.
Right. You're in the mailroom and you can work your way up to, the cafeteria.
CEO. Yeah.
Up to the CEO. To the highest paid player on the team. And
the beautiful thing about that is that's entirely up to you.
100%.
You're not waiting. You're not.
But JP, the number of people, and this is where I think it is going to weed so many people out of the system, is there's a lot of people that are, and you and I have seen this for so many years, and I think this is the reckoning for it. You know what? I'm not, okay, they do all the recruiting stuff, right? And the only reason they're going through recruiting, if they really are honest with themselves, is for ego and for keeping up with the Joneses. Not because they love football. Yeah. Not because they love and they cannot get enough of football. It's because they absolutely want to check the box and kind of snub their nose and be like, I told you I was a Division I player.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, now that same kid that doesn't get the chance at Division I is like, screw you. I'm better than that. I shouldn't do that. I'm not going to play anymore.
Yeah.
Well, the problem with that is if you're that good, you're just starting at a lower level where you before would have redshirted at the Division I level. You're not going to redshirt at the D2 or FCS. Play a little bit if you're that good.
Yeah.
And then you get your year, you go up, and now you get to play for 2 years and you get to play. And so there's a method to the madness. And I know it's a shock to the ego, but the game has changed. This is not 3 years ago.
Right.
It's not.
No, nowhere near close.
You and I talk about it off camera. We talk all the time. It's shocking how different it's become.
It's different. You probably have more opportunity, believe it or not, if you can do what you're supposed to do. Right. Now, back in the day, you might have had opportunity where you didn't deserve an opportunity.
Frauds. There's frauds everywhere.
And we saw it. I would be on college campus watching college practice and be like, how the heck did he ever make it through?
I would argue 10% of every college football team back in the day was fraudulent, if not
at
more.
least, yeah.
And you're like, this dude from Texas, this guy, we wasted all this time and energy and money on this guy.
So many guys made it off of that. I'm from Texas. I'm from Florida back in the day. And you probably played with some
a bunch. Florida and Texas.
Absolutely.
And I will tell you, we had numerous guys that would just talk smack, be like, oh yeah, to Texas football and this and that. And then the guys from Missouri would be like, then why, if you're so good, why are you playing in Missouri then?
And you want to know what? Same thing happened with coaches. In fact, there were coaches who, had one really great season down in Texas, and guess, hey, that was a good way to get hired by Mizzou back in the day. You have one good year, you're hired up at,
But here's the thing: if you can get an offer to an FCS level school now, that is the equivalent of being a FBS player, right?
Oh,
would you agree?
100%. And I could go through the names, right? And some recent commitments, would justify that.
Yeah,
that happened. These are guys who should be and will probably most likely at some point be going ahead and having that opportunity to
Preston Brown.
FBS. Yeah, Preston Brown. I mean, you're talking about Andy,
both Brown boys.
Yeah, both Brown boys. You're talking about Brett Ottensmeyer. You know what I mean?
Right.
He's a guy. I mean, or Rocco Marriott.
Come on.
I mean, this is you're right. We're getting into kind of some ridiculous stuff. I mean, there's some other quarterbacks I could name names, but I don't want to. But they will play at a higher level. But I see these offers I'm getting, and the exact response that you just said. Come on. It's like, I'm like, you feel emboldened. You're going to offer this kid. And the reason that they do is because they know the system that it's currently in.
Well, here, I just saw prime example, Brennan Shasheen.
Well, that's who I was thinking of.
Okay. Brennan Shasheen just got an offer from Truman State.
Yep. Dad's alma mater. Great.
Dad's alma mater.
Nice.
Broke records there. Had a great career. Brennan is better than Truman State, in my opinion, by a lot.
Yeah.
Okay. Would you agree?
Yep.
Yeah. Oh, keep going. Okay.
Keep going. We got 1 minute.
Yeah. Okay. So Brennan is I'm not a professional here. Brennan is so good for what he's doing in high school. The fact that he doesn't have more interest from FBS mid majors to FCS is asinine.
It is, and in years past, that would have totally changed. It wouldn't have been the same.
He would be done. He'd be committed.
Correct. But fascinating conversation. We'll talk more about that. Joe, you want to go ahead and pop up where people can find us at? Of course, football360show.com. My socials on X, at Instagram, JP Rock, MO, JP Rock Scout U. Matt?
Elite Football on X and Elite Football Academy on Instagram, and then also go check out.
And of course, find us on KLIS 590 AM on Saturdays, 11 AM. Great talking to everybody. We'll see you later.